In 1874, the German Empire was filled with the smell of iron and blood in the air. The victory of the French War made this new powerful country immersed in the madness of nationalism. They firmly believed that obedience and gymnastics were the only way to help save the future glory of the empire. Here, the curriculum of the children was filled with strict gymnastics training. From one bar to the other, every action must be as accurate as one. The slogan of uniform clothes was waving in every corner of the gymnasium, as if training an army of the future. However, on this oppressive land, an uninvited guest arrived with a leather ball. His name is Conrad Coker, a young man who came back from the British Oxford. With an education dream, he became one of the first English teachers at the Martinot-Catlinium Literature School. President Meyerfeld had high hopes for him. He was the pioneer who initiated the dialogue between Germany and the world. He excitedly showed Coker a telegraph pole that symbolized modernization. He claimed that within a few days, they would be able to communicate with Berlin back and forth. But he also realized that if the language does not work, advanced technology would be meaningless. This is why he hired Coker. He hoped that the young people of Germany would be able to face the world. However, his first class was delayed by 17 minutes. The principal used the pride of the Germans in gestures and discipline to give him a downgrade. When Coker finally stepped into the classroom of the model class, he faced a group of students with eyes full of vigilance and prejudice. In the eyes of these young sons of the empire, the British are barbarians. They eat the flesh of the blood, engage in prostitution, and even have a woman as their empress. These absurd ideas made Coker laugh. The student leader, Hartung, claimed that the British are barbaric imperialists. His words were full of disdain and hostility. Coker tried to break the deadlock in an easy way. He promised his students that as long as they let go of the rudeness of the Germans, they would discover the great fun of English and British culture. However, his class was soon interrupted by a loud noise. A history teacher and a doctor broke in. He held a broken gym ball and was about to rescue the perpetrator. Under Hartung's instruction, the student leader pointed to the only worker class pupil in the class, Jost Bernstein. Although Jost denied it, although Coker pointed out that there was no evidence, the doctor still found a sentence in Jost's school bag. Jost didn't say a word. He was dragged into the courtyard by the doctor. In front of all the classmates, he received a cruel whip. The cold whip struck his palm and Coker's heart. The doctor declared that people like Jost had nothing to do with this school and was going to fire him. This barbaric whip showed the level of severity and cruelty of this era. After that, Coker called Hartung and returned the sentence as evidence to him, telling him that he was very interested in fair competition and comradeship. Hartung laughed. He knew that the new teacher had seen through his trick. At night, Coker stayed in a shabby apartment. Here, he met the president of the school sponsorship association, who was Hartung's father, Richard Hartung, a more powerful and conservative enemy. President Hartung did not hide his infatuation with Coker. He regarded Coker's experience in Oxford as an act of abandoning the motherland. He warned Coker not to bring the free-spirited ideas of the UK to German classrooms. Coker tried to explain that he should encourage children to think independently and discover their talents, instead of forcing them to follow in their father's footsteps. But this idealistic speech was just a childish empty talk for President Hartung. He coldly reminded Coker that Coker was just an experimental product of the school. He could stand here all thanks to the sponsorship association. Do not bite the hand that feeds you. Hartung's threat was like a thorn deep into Coker's heart. He even took Coker's father, who died on the battlefield, as an example. A hero who sacrificed for the country. Coker's counterattack was full of bitterness and resolve. Most importantly, my father is dead. He did not want to be a hero in anyone's eyes, let alone a cold tombstone. On the other hand, traditional language teaching was in a dilemma. Students were not interested in boring grammar. They even thought their tongues were too short to make a unique sound in English. Hartung openly provoked him again. He claimed that he would rather be educated than attend such a boring class. He thought the future of German needed guns and bullets, not this strange sound. Kocher was finally enraged. He was tired of this blind obedience to German knowledge. He told Hartung that he was not qualified to be punished because he was disgusted by his father's behavior. Seeing the students who were not angry, Kocher made a bold decision. He fell off the edge of the classroom and let the students gather at the gym 3 minutes later. He took out a ball from England from his own heart. He wanted to teach them English and teach them to be human in a new way. In the empty gym, Kocher introduced this strange thing to the students: football. He told them, "This is the ball and the goal is the goal." He demonstrated himself. "I kicked the ball into the goal." Kocher kicked the ball into the goal. This simple and direct action shocked all the students. Under Kocher's encouragement, the students began to try. They repeatedly repeated the sentences and tried their best to kick the ball out. The first time in the gym, there was a cheering sound instead of a machine slogan. Even a proud Hartung couldn't help trying, but he was embarrassed and fell to the ground, causing a commotion. And the bully Jost showed his amazing talent here. His 1-foot shot accurately kicked the ball into the goal and won Kocher's praise. Through football, Kocher combined English words with action: shoot, pass, defend, attack. The students learned in the sport, and their enthusiasm rose. But happy times are always short. Kocher's unintentional show kicked the ball into the painting of Emperor William on the wall, and the painting fell to the ground. This ominous scene seemed to foretell the coming of a storm. On the other hand, Jost's mother finally met the principal. Although the principal sympathized with his experience, he clearly said, if Jost did anything dangerous again, the school would be helpless. Unexpectedly, in the school drain, he found the painting of the emperor that was kicked by Kocher. He hesitated for a moment and took it away. This small action later played an unexpected role. At night, he found Kocher's residence and returned the painting to her. This impulsive mother did not know that the man in front of her was Kocher. She was just angrily asking where the teacher who locked her son up was. When she learned about Kocher's identity, she was even more angry. She turned all the hard work she had made for her son's future into angry words to Kocher. Kocher was deeply moved by her mother's love. She solemnly promised to do everything she could to help Jost. Soon the new training began. This time, Kocher let the chubby Schrick be the goalkeeper. Although Schrick was heavy, he was surprisingly flexible in front of the goal. Under the guidance of Kocher, he learned to receive the ball with his hands, block the ball with his body, and play the ball brilliantly again and again. This made him feel confident and accomplished for the first time. He showed an unprecedented smile on his face. The enthusiasm of the students also influenced Kocher. Kocher went on the court himself and played against them in 2 teams. However, an unintentional foul caused another conflict between Jost and Kocher. In the end, Jost's goal broke and he won for his team. But when he left, Kocher and other rich children took away Jost's shoes and hung him on a tall lamp post to humiliate him. At the same time, Schrick's father, a sports equipment manufacturer, also found something strange about his son's behavior. He learned from Schrick that football is a strange thing and how ridiculous it is. The next day, Dr. Schrick found that the students in the class were all injured and had injuries on their bodies. He forced the students to tell the truth, but they kept their mouths shut. One of the students even stood up and lied that he hit everyone. Dr. Schrick did not believe it at all. He ordered the students to climb the railing. When the students fell from the railing due to pain, Kocher appeared in time to stop the scene. The students' unusual behavior aroused the school's seniors' vigilance. They invited an officer who had lost one of his legs in the war to teach the students the glory and beauty of war. But the students were no longer the wooden dolls. They laughed at the officer and even invited him to play football with them. The class was once again in chaos. Principal Melfiord felt great pressure. He found Coker and told him that all his colleagues thought the students' rebellion was caused by him. He warned Coker that a hanged fairy is a useless fairy. Coker promised to reflect on his teaching methods, but the conservatives did not give up. President Hatton's son Felix told his father that Coker and the students were secretly playing football in the park. Coker was disappointed with the students' rebellion. He thought they did not understand the true meaning of fair competition. He announced that all training would be suspended before they apologized to the leg poisoning officer and Dr. Schrick. This aroused dissatisfaction among the students. They decided to play football in the park even without Coker. On the other hand, Eustace had a big fight with his mother because of the football. He did not want to be an engineer that his mother expected. He just wanted to stay here and play football. When the boys were playing football in the park, President Hatton arrived with a team. The chase began. The boys ran away. Eustace, who was hiding on the tree, was caught and locked in a wooden cage. President Hatton looked at Eustace and called him an inheritor. This football riot shocked the school. President Hatton was very angry. He called football the cause of the moral decline of England and the beginning of the socialist revolution. He pointed his finger at Eustace again and asked the school to fire him. In order to protect the students, Coker stood up and offered to resign. The condition was that Eustace could continue to stay at school. Coker's sacrifice left everyone in silence. In the end, President Hatton achieved his goal. He finally drove away Eustace. The news of Coker's departure came. The students were very sad. Felix Hatton saw his father's coldness and Coker's responsibility, and was greatly shocked. He felt extremely regretful for his previous secretive behavior. He found Coker. Coker comforted him, saying that in that case he might make the same choice. Coker told him not to let his father's will completely control his life. Coker's tolerance and encouragement ignited the fire of Felix's resistance. He found the imperial school regulations left by his servant Rosalie. With the help of his classmates, they found a key clause, Article 34, Section 3. A group of students knocked on the door of President Hatton's secretary, and they were going to use this rule to put an end to Coker's football dream. The next day, when Coker was preparing to sign the resignation agreement, a telegram from the Royal Academy of Education from Berlin arrived. It turned out that Ms. Sarho sent a telegram in the name of Coker, asking for an evaluation of football. According to the school regulations, the delegation of the Empire was about to arrive. Before that, the ban on football must be lifted. This reversal made President Hatton speechless. He could not openly disobey the Emperor's order. When Coker asked who was in favor, one by one the students stood up. They admitted that it was their own credit. In the end, they all said, "This is the will of all of us." Looking at the students who were united, Coker and the principal showed a smile of comfort. They were no longer a team of scattered sand, but a real team. Coker told them they had a chance to win everything and they could lose everything. The news of the game went on. The news made the whole city excited. President Hatton was angry in the church and claimed that football was a barbaric game, but he could not stop people's enthusiasm. The manager of the Schillig Stadium saw the opportunity. He asked his son to sell football on the day of the game and promised that if he could make up for the loss, he agreed to continue playing. The workers at the factory also got a leave of absence and rushed to the park to watch the game. From the church to the factory, from the nobles to the civilians, everyone put down their work and rushed to the city park. This will be the first public football game on the day of the game. Friends of Coer have been coming from the team of Nyojing. They will have a historic battle with the students of Coer under the watch of the imperial delegation and the people of the whole city. The game began. Obviously, the children of the German team were a little nervous. Soon, the British team broke through the door with the help of their skills. The conservatives on the side of the field showed the spirit of the game. Coer explained to everyone the complicated rules of the game. Even the women's team Rosalie understood. This made the officials on the other side of the field laugh. Under everyone's encouragement, the children of the German team gradually found the feeling. The goalkeeper Schick played a wonderful shot and ignited the enthusiasm of the whole field. Even the oldest officials couldn't help but applaud. The game entered the warm-up stage. Jost took the ball and broke through. The whole field was on fire. 1-1. Jost's mother, Koer, and the audience were cheering for the children. What they saw was not only a victory, but also a new spirit, a power that transcends class unity. In the end, the German team defeated the British team 2-1. This victory not only opened the door for football promotion in Germany, but also made Koer's education concept recognized by everyone. At the end of the film, an old photo records how the football movement sprouted in Germany. Koer and his students brought a great dream to a country with their love and persistence.